said yeah!
Oh, wow, man, this is... Whoa. Check this out.
Hey, let's do a product review. The Abu Garcia Veritas bait casting rod. Just got this thing today. Ordered it from Tackle Warehouse. I think this thing's brand new as far as production goes because they were out of stock and I had to wait a couple of weeks and it finally arrived today. So, I want to talk a little bit about Abu Garcia first. Obviously, you can look at my YouTube channel. I'm not sponsored by Abu Garcia or anybody for that matter. So everything I say is going to be unbiased. But I originally, when I started fishing years and years ago, originally used Abu Garcia products. Why? I don't really know why I started using their products. Probably was, looking for a rod and reel and they had the best price or whatever. Anyway, I just started using their products, and I used their products for years and years, not just bait casting products, but their spinning products as well. I started watching a lot of YouTube fishing videos of guys who were using exclusively Lew's products. You don't see a lot of fishing tackle commercials on TV, if any at all. And when you're watching YouTube fishing videos, you don't see a lot of fishing tackle commercials during the videos. The fishing tackle commercials for these large manufacturers are actually the video itself. So what happens is Lew's, their marketing strategies are advertising in YouTube videos. What they do basically is they look at these YouTube fishermen that have channels that have, 250,000 subscribers, 500,000 subscribers, whatever, thousands and thousands of views, thousands of likes. They know that these channels are being watched. So they reach out to these people and they say, hey, we're going to send you some stuff. Use it in your video and we'll make sure you have stuff. Well, who wouldn't do that? I mean, anybody, I'd dive on that opportunity, right? So what Lew's will do is they'll send these fishermen, 4, 5, 6 of their rods, brand new rods, some reels and stuff. And then, these guys are set up for rod and reels, They go out and fish with them, exclusively just those products. And they brag a little bit about them in their videos. And it sells rod and reels. And I can attest to that. I'm a victim of that. So, I've been using Abu Garcia, Shimano, and I have some St. Croix rods. But I abandoned all that stuff and went out and started buying all the latest, greatest Lew's equipment because that's what these guys were using. So the first thing I bought was the old Mock Crush, the Lew's Mock Crush. So let me tell you quickly the story behind this. I love this rod and reel. This is not actually the Mock Crush reel. We'll get to that in a second. But this is the original Mock Crush rod. I was so excited when this combo arrived. I think I paid about $200 for it. $190. And the first thing I noticed was the reel. The spool was slightly offset to the right or to the handle side. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird, because, visually you could see the spool was offset to the right. And I thought, well, maybe that's just some kind of design, in the reel that Luz has, no big deal, right? So I spooled it up with line, and as you would imagine, the line spooled very heavy on the opposite side where it was offset. And I'm like, oh, no, this is wrong. There's something wrong here. So I unspooled it, and I respooled it several times. I tried different types of line, and it still spooled heavy on the left side of the reel. It's because the spool itself was offset to the right. So I Googled the crap out of this, trying to find out if anybody else had had this problem. Couldn't see it anywhere. There was no indication anywhere on the internet that anybody had a problem with the Mach Crush reel and the spool being offset. So finally I took it apart. I took it apart like I think 3 times, trying to see if I could fix it. Long story short on that, if you can live with your line, spooling like this on your spool, hey, it's that you should have bought that reel from me. Okay, manufacturer's defect number 1. Then I took the the Mach Crush combo out and went fishing. And it didn't take long to realize that the eyelets, all the eyelets, are slightly offset to the left. In other words, when the reel is sitting locked in place on the reel seat, the eyelets are slightly offset to the left. In other words, when they put this handle part, attached it to the rod itself, it was off center. And once again, that's a manufacturing defect. The total Luz Mach Crush experience was a bummer. Both the rod and the reel had manufacturing defects. I said, okay, that's one bad thing, right? Let's keep moving on. So, the next thing that I purchased from Luz is a brand new TP1 Speed Stick. Now, this is a beautiful rod. I love this rod, the looks of it. But it's supposed to be a 7-foot medium heavy fast action rod. And this tip is like a baseball bat. This is everything but fast action. This is extra fast. And I understand that in the rod industry, the fishing rod industry, there is no international standardization. There's no ISO for all the different rod tip speeds, all the different rod strengths. It's basically, the manufacturers, they all have their own version of extra fast and so forth. Sure, a fast action rod made by Luz may be a little bit stiffer or flimsier than a fast action rod made by Abu Garcia. That's understandable without the ISO implying. But you would think Luz versus Luz, there would be some consistency. You can actually look at this rod tip and tell how thick this thing is and stiff it is, that it's not fast. It's like extra fast or whatever comes after that. And I actually put it up against my Mach Crush rod, also Luz product, side by side, and the tip is twice as stiff. And this is supposed to be fast action. Well, as nice as the rod looks, it casts like a piece of crap because of that. The baits nosedive because the tip is so stiff. It's almost like an extra heavy, casting an extra heavy rod that's 7 foot long. The reason that they're so popular on YouTube is simply because Luz, their marketing strategies, is giving these products to these fishermen to fish with them. I'd fish with this junk myself too if you'd send it to me for free. Okay, but I don't have that luxury. I have to pay hard-earned garbanzos to get my equipment. So I decided to go back to Abu Garcia. The products I've used for years and years ago. I still have an Abu Garcia Black Max rod and reel combo bait caster downstairs that is still, I haven't tried this one out yet, but it's still, the Black Max to date is the best rod and reel combo I've ever had. So I made the comeback by buying this brand new Veritas bait casting rod. This is the 7-foot medium heavy fast action, and yes, it is an actual fast action. Now I'm going to talk about this reel, the new Max Pro, not Pro Max, the Max Pro, in 1 second. But first let me talk about this rod. The first thing I noticed when I got this rod this afternoon, I pulled it out of the big long tube container that Tackle Warehouse so carefully packs their rods in, and it is light as a feather. Now, Abu Garcia boasts that this rod is actually 15% stronger and 15% lighter. I think it's because of some resin composite or something that goes into the rod itself. But it is, let me tell you, it was very noticeable right from the get-go how light this rod is. Now, I haven't fished with it yet, and I'm going to in the next couple of days. But I will tell you this right now, holding this rod in my hand, as far as the comfort, the balance, the weight of it, 100%, right from the get-go. As you can see, I haven't even spooled this reel yet up, so hopefully in the next couple of days I'm going to be able to take this rig out and fish with it and see what it's really like. The only thing I can say negative, just at the early point in this examination and review, I like to have this back handle to be able to go up under my arm. See if I can do this without knocking a hole in the ceiling. I like to have a lot of length here for that leverage, especially down here in Florida where you've got a lot of weeds, and 99% of the fish you catch you're gonna have to drag through 1,000 pounds of weeds to get them ashore anyway. I like that length because it gives me good leverage. But with this rod initially, it does not quite have the length that my Mock Crush does, but it feels more balanced, where that I feel like I can set the hook a little bit better without the rod feeling like I've got one of those old pistol grip bait casting rods, if you remember those. They still sell those, as a matter of fact. So that's the only negative thing I can say. Another really cool thing about this rod is the back side of the eyelets. As you can see, you know, there's none of this highlighter. You know, these, when they attach the eyelets, there's none of that contrast of color, black and white. It's basically all one color, so it's really kind of clean looking. And these are those nano eyelets. You know, a bait casting rod nowadays, the modern ones, you can't get away from that. I don't like them simply because you can't do braid with a fluorocarbon leader with these things. What happens is that knot, no matter how good of a knot you tie, no matter what kind of knot you tie, at some point that knot's going to catch on one of those small nano eyelets, and you're going to find yourself losing a lure. It's happened to me several times. So with these nano eyelets, basically, you know, you need to be using either straight braid, no leader, or fluorocarbon. All right, so let's talk a minute about this reel. So like I said, this is the new Abu Garcia Max Pro. Now I'm walking around in Walmart a couple of weeks ago, right? And, you know, Walmart has hardly anything in their fishing department, in the Walmart near me anyway. Actually, every Walmart I've been to locally here, not a whole lot in their fishing department. But I noticed that they had in a blister pack this new Max Pro reel. And what stood out to me is the color of it. It's white. I'm thinking that's pretty cool looking. So I came back. Of course, I didn't buy it. I came back and Googled it and couldn't find anything on the internet about it. I guess it's because it is relatively brand new. I dove on it. I think it was like 69 bucks, 70 bucks. So I'm really anxious to try this out. Once again, you know, looks aren't everything. It's not all about looks, but I love these handles. If you can take a look at these handles, they've got the Abu Garcia logo on them, but they're very soft and very, very sticky. I don't mean sticky like in a bad way. I'm like very grippy. They don't seem like they're going to be slippery when they get wet. And they've got a lot of, they're soft. They've got a lot of beef to them, if you will. The reel itself really does look good. You know, I'm anxious to spool it up and take it out and try it. But, you know, I think all in all, you know, when I matched it up with this Veritas, I think that's a really nice looking combo. Maybe Abu Garcia ought to think about making it a combo. Looks really good. Once again, the reel, 70 bucks. The rod, I think I paid 90 something for it. So, you know, it's under 200 bucks for the whole rig. And I think it looks pretty good. One more thing about the rod. They've got the closed cell foam grips, but having those, like my Black Max has those as well, I've never had a problem with them. I do like the wind grips, you know. The wind grips are very, very nice, but the closed cell foam is that Abu Garcia makes, not just for the Veritas, but the Black Max, for example. It's very comfortable, and I've never had a problem with it being wet, you know, from sweat, having grip issues with it. So that's yet to be, you know, determined. I'm going to test it out here hopefully in a couple of days. With all said, that's it. The only thing left to do is spool her up and go out and try to catch some fish.